Ayo, back at it again with another video. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it very, very much. So, this video is all about why I love Lincoln. Lincoln is one of the greatest presidents ever. In my opinion, he is the greatest. Obviously, you can debate, between him, Washington, and, maybe a handful of others, but to me, Lincoln's the greatest president. Lincoln, if you ask your favorite president, who their favorite president is, it's probably Lincoln or Washington or maybe a handful of others. But Lincoln to me is so goated. He is so good. He is the pinnacle of what we want as a president because he held the Union together. Washington ultimately helped create the Union and help us through the infancy of our Union, but Lincoln preserved the Union. And he's so good because he's surrounded by two terrible presidents. You see, Lincoln is 16, James Buchanan's 15, Johnson is 17. Buchanan basically just let the South secede, and Johnson was a Southern sympathizer that basically sabotaged Reconstruction. So Lincoln is, you know, bookended between two terrible presidents, which ultimately makes him look better. He's a fantastic president. He kept the Union together. If you were wondering what this picture is, um, this was making its rounds. I think during the pandemic, Abraham Lincoln photo shows president as never seen before. More or less what he would look like in today's world. It actually looks a little bit more realistic. Personally, I think the hair should be a little darker. You look at pictures of Lincoln; he had really dark hair, really dark beard. But this is a really cool picture. But yeah, if we look at our list of presidents, we got Buchanan at 15, Lincoln at 16, and Johnson at 17. Lincoln, comes to power 1860, elected, and essentially Buchanan does nothing because there are 7 states that secede before Fort Sumter, and Fort Sumter is the very beginning of our Civil War. So we look at the numbers on this National Park Service graphic. South Carolina was number 1 to secede, Mississippi was 2, Florida was 3, Alabama 4, Georgia 5, Louisiana 6, and Texas at 7. So these states in red are the first 7 to go, and Buchanan did nothing. Virginia was 8th to go, Arkansas 9 to go, 10 Tennessee, and 11 North Carolina. And then we have our border states here in a pinkish color, and then we got green for Union. And then bookended by Andrew Johnson, who again is sympathizer to the South. He was from Tennessee. If you look at the map, Tennessee was a southern state. It wasn't part of the original 7 that went, but ultimately Tennessee became part of the Confederacy, and Johnson was a southern sympathizer because he's from Tennessee. And a lot of people would argue that Reconstruction was ended early. To be completely honest, I don't think Reconstruction actually began because Andrew Johnson sabotaged it so atrociously. We have 3 presidents right here, 15, 16, 17. 15 and 17 are terrible, which makes Lincoln look that much better. And in my opinion, he is the GOAT. He is the greatest president ever, in my personal opinion. Obviously, you can debate that all you want, but there's pretty broad consensus around either Lincoln or Washington as the greatest ever. But personally, I think it's Lincoln. And the reason Lincoln to me is so good is because he was able to do all the stuff that he did, keep the Union together, and despite the fact that Buchanan did nothing. Personally, I think having Andrew Johnson as a VP pick was a terrible decision. Absolutely atrocious decision, but you can't go back and rewrite history, unfortunately. Yeah, Lincoln is a great president, the best in my opinion, and unfortunately he's surrounded by the two worst presidents ever. That's just how it is. With that, that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Deuces.